Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I wanted to break down a very key concept that I'm really excited to share with you, which is all about why ROAS as a metric is useless, right? It's trash. And if you ever want to hit 1 million a month with your brand or beyond, then you need to really understand this, okay? Now, myself as a marketer, I've been in the D2C space for around 2 years. I only really started learning about this deeply probably around 6 months ago, which is definitely my fault. But I don't want you to make the same mistake. I don't want you to go away and spend thousands of dollars for your e-commerce brand thinking that you're getting an amazing return when in actuality, you are literally burning your dollars and wasting your money, okay? So ROAS is the topic of this video. Now, why is ROAS a bad thing? And secondly, who am I to tell you that it is? So my name's George. I run a marketing agency for e-commerce brands called The Paid Search Company. We're spending well over $500,000 a month on paid ads for some very high level 7 and 8 figure e-com brands. So it's our absolute job to understand these metrics and know what success truly looks like. And I really think the biggest difference between brands doing 100K a month to brands doing 1 million a month is understanding this concept. Brands doing under 100K a month often don't understand this, but brands doing over that, they really need to get it if they want to truly scale, okay? So why is this important? Well, it's important because typically the way to scale a brand is through paid ads. And the two biggest channels when it comes to scaling paid ads are Meta and Google. Now we specialize in Google. I can't really say the same for Meta, so I can't go as in depth there, but I obviously do know a fair bit about it. And I know that it is obviously the main channel when it comes to D2C, right? So you've got Meta and you've got Google, okay? Now, when it comes to these two platforms, most brand owners are looking at ROAS for a metric of success. So, when you're running Meta ads, you have to ask yourself, how well are they doing, right? Like how effectively is my money being used and how much is it making me back, right? No one wants to just spend money for nothing back. So ROAS is essentially return on ad spend. It's the metric that determines if you put $1 in, how much do you get back from advertising, right? Return on ad spend, okay? So it's usually represented as just a simple number, right? So, a $1 in, $3 back, right? That's a 3x return on ad spend, or it can be a percentage as well, like a 300% return on ad spend, okay? So why is this a problem? It's a problem when you start combining different channels together, okay? Now, if you are just running Google ads, okay, you're not running Meta, and you're spending on Google, you're spending maybe 10,000 a month, and you bring back 30,000, and you're very sure that your conversion tracking is accurate, and you can see the numbers are pretty similar on Shopify and on Google, then ROAS is actually a fine metric to use, okay? Because it is what it is, right? You spend, you get something back. The problem becomes when you're starting to use multiple different channels. Now, obviously, omni-channel advertising is key when it comes to scaling an advertising or an e-commerce brand, because you've got to be everywhere, you've got to be on people's minds, and you've got to be able to use and leverage different channels in order to scale effectively and increase your inventory and your placements and all of these things. The problem becomes when you're using both, because what happens, and I can speak especially with Google on this, and I think brand owners, you're probably missing this, is that Google will oftentimes clean up or advertise to meta traffic that was already going to buy. And so what happens is that Google in the platform looks like it's got an amazing ROAS, but in actuality, a lot of those customers that it says it's responsible for converting were going to buy anyway. And so what happens is you have an amazing ROAS, right? An amazing ROAS on Google, but in reality, your Shopify sales or whatever platform you're using for your e-commerce brand, they're not even increasing that much, or you're not seeing a huge change for the amount of money you're spending, right? So this is what we would call MER, right? So this is the metric, this right here is the metric you need to live by if you are an e-com brand owner. Your MER, which stands for media efficiency ratio, is poor, it's bad, it's not increasing or it's going down. And so what is your MER? Your MER is essentially your company's return on ad spend, right? So let's say you're only advertising on Meta and Google. You take the revenue that both of those are generating and you divide it by the cost, right? So it's like looking at the ROAS of both. And so what can happen is you might be spending 10K a month on Meta ads, and then you might be spending 5K a month on Google, and let's say that's 15K a month spend, you're getting 30K back from that. That's an MER of 2, right? And then you decide to raise your Google spend to 10K a month, so now you're spending 20K a month, but your global revenue, your global sales doesn't change, right? Even though Google might look like it's doing great in platform, your overall Shopify sales, they stay the same, okay? And so your MER actually goes down because now you're spending 20K for the same return of 30K. And so that's like what, a 1.5 or something, right? So your MER goes down to a 1.5. So you're actually now you're probably losing money at that point. But most brand owners will look at the ROAS within Google Ads, and it'll look great because it's converting all of those meta sales that you're generating, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean basically when people are on Meta and they're seeing your ads, they're typically going to search up your brand, right? So they're going to go from Meta to your brand. Now, they would have bought anyway, right? If they'd just purchased or clicked on your organic link. But Google is going to show a branded ad, right, at the top, and they're going to click on that, and then they're going to buy, and then Google's going to claim credit for that sale, when in actuality, Meta was doing all the work, right? Or maybe they don't even come from Meta, they just know your brand from organic, right? Or your content, or whatever it is. They search up your brand name, Google serves a branded ad, they buy, and again, Google hasn't really done anything, but it's going to say, hey, look, you're spending all this money, and I'm getting all these sales, so ROAS is great, right? No, you need to be looking at your overall MER, and you can literally just do this in a Google Sheet. You can use tools like Triple Whale, they're great, but you can literally just go into a Google Sheet and track how much you're spending and track your Shopify revenue, and boom, that's your MER, right? Super, super simple. So understanding this is absolutely key. Now, am I saying that Google is a terrible channel, right? I might be scaring you. You might be like, shit, let's turn Google Ads off. No, I'm not saying that. And if I believed that, then I would have to shut down my company, right? Because we specialize in Google Ads. How can you avoid this happening? Well, it all comes down to your Google Ads account structure, okay? It comes down to what campaigns you're actually using. So let's take Meta out of the equation here. We're talking about Google now. So very highly automated campaigns are a bit of a problem here. So I'm mostly talking about Performance Max. Because Performance Max, you have very, very little control over where it's going and what it's spending on. And one of the top things we see when we audit 7- and 8-figure ecom brands accounts is we go into Performance Max, we go into the Insights tab within PMax, and we look at the search term insights. And this is essentially where Google will tell you what search terms are producing conversions within your PMax campaign. And 9 times out of 10, do you know what the first search term insight is? It's the brand name, okay? So it's the brand's brand name. And so what happens is PMax ROAS looks fantastic, but guess what? MER doesn't. And pretty much you can either turn PMax off or cut the spend in half, and your MER stays the same, but your costs go down. So your revenue, your global revenue stays the same. You kill PMax, boom, costs go down, right? Same thing with brand. You can turn off branded search campaigns and your global sales pretty much stay the same. So what is the solution? What can you do? Well, what we're pivoting a lot of our clients at the moment to that are doing a lot of Meta, right? If you're just doing Google, PMax can work really well, especially if you're in the starting stages and MER isn't that important to you. Look, get to 7 figures, all right? Then you can start to worry about this kind of stuff. We prioritize standard shopping, okay? Why? Because you have a very tight control over what search terms you are serving on, right? You can literally see the exact search terms. You can add negative keyword lists. So what we do is we negative out the brand name. So you cannot, our shopping ads will not serve for branded searches. And again, we just have such tight control. You can't do this with Performance Max. You really can't. And we can even negative out like high intent keywords as well that look like they were going to buy, and we can just focus on pure cold terms, right? So if you're selling socks, we're just advertising on socks, buy socks now, white socks, things like that, right? And what we'll do is we'll have multiple standard shopping campaigns for each product category, okay? Why? So that we can set custom ROAS targets, okay, within those campaigns, and we can set custom budgets, right? That's going to give us the highest amount of control. So don't just have one standard shopping campaign with all your products, although you can do that to start with. We like multiple different ones, all right? And so while the ROAS in platform won't look as good, your MER will look better, and you'll actually be able to scale Google Ads with a good new customer CPA, right? And so you actually get a cold customer acquisition engine rather than just something that remarkets to your Meta ads, okay? If you are a Beat brand owner right now, your agency is probably over-relying way too much on PMax, and you've got to be careful. All right, so I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. Hopefully you've learned something new, a new nugget of information today. If you want our help with Google Ads and actually turning Google Ads into a new customer acquisition engine, then book a free call with myself below. I will literally diagnose your problems and we will audit your account for free and show you exactly where you might be losing money, okay? Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, comment down below your thoughts, and I'll be excited to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.